What's up, Starcraft fans? Today we're doing the tier list for Dark Ritual on Temple of the Past. Brian, let's hear the mutation.
Temple of the Past is the map where we have to protect a temple in the center of the map from waves of enemy units. If the temple survives until the end of the game, we win. If the enemies destroy the temple, we lose. Enemies move very fast and have random spells. You have no means of determining their spells until the enemies use them.
So Twotuuu and Zero are with the call list, are in the call list today. How are you guys?
Great.
Doing fine.
Twotuuu, how will we rank the commanders this week?
So Speed Freaks is the main mutator for this one. And as long as you know the map, or the patterns, you should be able to be in position. And if not, then you use buildings. So commanders who can get around the map easily or cover many areas without having to move far will be ranked higher.
How about you, Zero?
So, power overwhelming is also a fairly big issue because it can slow you down as well as a lot of commanders don't actually fight that well into it.
Okay, that's fair. Let's begin. Abathur, where do we have him?
For Abathur, he can handle most of the early game with just toxicness. Even at the rocks, you don't have to spawn camp the enemies. And you just eventually you'll get one Brutalist, then two, then three, and then Brutalists have quite a lot of HP. Queens will help heal them, and you also have Mend. So I put Abathur in A.
How about you, Zero?
It makes sense. He has a really easy early game. Later on, he just gets swarm hosts, and his units have a lot of HP, so they can both tank the power overwhelming as well as teleport around with deep tunnel to combat the speed freaks. So A makes sense.
Okay. Do you guys think Vipers are a great idea here, or just go straight to Swarm Host?
Just straight swarm hosts.
Straight
Enemies aren't
swarm
strong
host.
enough to beat vipers.
Okay. Prestige-wise, you want the second one?
Yes.
Okay. Abathur in A. I actually had him in B because I don't like his early game, but still fine. Since you guys both said A, let's move on. Alarak, where do we have him?
Alarak, his early game is really easy at least, but he doesn't do too well against power overwhelming. I assume your best bet here is Ascendants, just because they can like not one shot, but like one volley the waves, and then they teleport back to the other lane with the mothership. But still, if they get caught by like power overwhelming, they can get trapped and killed really quickly. So he's really risky. So I have him in B.
Okay. How about you, Twotuuu?
Alarak's not very good against power overwhelming, so if you are unlucky or if your units are clumped up, and if your units are clumped up, then you're gonna get hit by a bunch of AOE. You might lose some precious, expensive units.
Very expensive.
So the good thing is his mothership allows him to get around the map easily.
Yes.
So you can help. Yeah, overcharge is also good for stalling. I put him in B though.
Okay.
So,
Both of you agree with B anyway, so I also put him in B, by the way. It's a unanimous B. Prestige-wise, you want the third one, right?
Yes.
Okay, great. Arcturus, where do we have him?
He he just makes lots of bunkers and
Inhumane.
sieges everything. Right? I think the enemies are not stronger, although it does suck that their AoE will kill your dudes that are repairing.
That's
But
lame.
that's you might lose a bunker to maybe. Otherwise, you're just gonna sit around the temple most of the time. So I put him in S.
S. How about you, Zero?
I also have him at S. He just kind of ignores most things here with his bunkers. Yeah, I don't think there's much to be said. If you're good, you can construct the waves and they won't even come to the temple, but that's not needed at all. That's just a bonus.
How does he deal with the air hybrid that just like to fly past everything?
I mean, he shoots it.
You make bunkers.
How many bunkers do you need
Yeah.
to shoot them down before they get past you? Don't they also have to fight the
Oh.
other stuff?
Your bunkers should be around the temple. So if they're gonna fly past the temple and stay around there, they're just gonna die
So
there.
just camp the ramps is what you're saying.
Or just camp the temple,
Temple
not even the
itself.
ramps.
Okay, not even not even the ramps. What? Don't the enemies attack your base if they get up the ramp?
You're not like right next to the temple, and you're not right next to the ramp. You're kind of in the middle
Okay,
there.
that makes sense. So both of you have an S. Let's put him in S. Prestige wise, you want the third one, right?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So just lots of bunkers. Is there even a consideration to add like Prides of Augustgrad for the triple Yamato?
No, I don't think they're needed here. Maybe if you're like late game on floating gas, but even then it's probably not needed.
All right. How do you deal with the Thrashers?
Thrasher's
a bunker.
ESO, or bunker drop, or Zerg.
All right. Let's move on. Artanis, where do we have him?
Artanis, so his top bar is very good here. I believe one orbital strike with P3 can mostly kill both waves on both lanes if you like Siege and Observer on both lanes. But his units are not very good. Like Dragoons are good for splitting, but they don't fight well into power overwhelming
No, they
or
don't.
fast enemies in general.
Yes.
So I have him in B. He'll struggle a lot with the DPS.
B.
And
Okay.
this, yeah, you have to reserve his energy very well.
All right. How about you, Twotuuu?
Same thing, except I don't think the CG observers will work that well because they will cast spells on the observers, even if they
Yes.
don't see them. They'll cast spells, and you don't have Guardian Shell, so if you're using P3, which means that the observers will just kind of die. But you can still do the Unbound Fanatic drop at your base, so it's basically the same thing. You just wait a little, you just like let them come to you. So I
That makes
also have
sense.
them in B.
Okay.
You can shield overcharge as well.
So since we were using the Archon dudes, we're using third prestige, right? Arship Commandant.
Yes.
All right. Both of you have him in B. Let's put him in B. Dehaka, where do we have him?
Dehaka, he's really strong and really easy for this. So you can make Tyrannosaurs or Creeper hosts. I wouldn't use Guardians, not so good against power overwhelming. Mutalisks,
Yeah.
maybe. But pack leaders are really good. So
Pack leaders are really good.
I put them in S.
Okay. How about you, Zero?
As makes sense. Pack leader clears one wave, and then creeper host to just nuke the other one. There's really nothing much he has to worry about here, so S is perfectly fine.
S is perfectly fine. Why not double S?
Still have to work.
You have to work.
Yeah.
All right. Dehaka and S. Let's move on. Oh wait, prestige wise, do you want the second one here?
Yes.
All right. Let's move on. Phoenix, where to have him?
Phoenix, so he doesn't care that much about power overwhelming, because when his champion dies, you just send another one. He kills waves relatively quickly, he has a teleport. Even if it's air, I don't think he'll struggle much. Yeah, he can push into the bases very well to kill the waves as soon as they spawn, then just teleport to the other lane, which you kind of have to know, like, the timings relatively.
Okay.
It's not that important. Yeah, he's not. What I'm trying to say basically, he's not as easy as the S tiers, but he's still really good. So I have him in A.
A. Okay. Let's. Oh, how about you, Twotuuu?
Same thing. He can easily charge his side, and then Arbiter Suit go to the other side, and then take care of the other side. And if not, you can make some Stargates or something to stall the enemies. Then take your time and get there. I also have him in A.
Does he not have an issue against air?
No,
No.
they're not. It's the only thing is like it'll be slower, but they're not stronger. It'll take longer.
Okay, so as long as the
Little
enemy's
bit.
not stronger, he's fine against air. Okay.
Yeah.
Both of you have him in A. Let's put him in A. Prestige wise, do you want the second one?
Yes.
Okay, second prestige. Let's move on. Hot and Horner, where do we have him?
They don't have static defense, so power overwhelming kind of hurts them. The strike fighters are kind of wrecked by their PDDs as well, and you have to be very good with using them. So like, if you're not good with aiming your mag mines and airstrikes, you're gonna be losing a lot of stuff. I used Widow Mines, and then I found out they just kept dying, so I switched to Hellbat Hellion, and that was much better in the middle of the game. I just switched in the middle, and then it was much better. But yeah, I put him in C.
I did use mines, and they also kept dying, but my solution to that was just keep making more. Just keep replacing them. It'll be fine. But you know, it's not the same situation. How about you, Zero?
They're not very good. Strike fighters are like your best option, but they get shut down by PDD still. And if it's air, you can't even use strike fighters, so they're gonna
That's
suffer. Yeah, I think you kind of have to like go into the Horner units eventually, but getting there is difficult. Like even if
Ouch.
you're P1, I think you still want Horner units. Yeah, C makes sense.
Do you make sense? Alright, let's put Han and Horner in C. Prestige wise, do you want the first one? I guess it doesn't matter, right? Since they're in C tier, you can just kind of use whichever you want. They're all equally meh or mediocre.
Yeah, 1 or 2.
Man,
I think
Han and
both
Horner needs a
work.
buff. How would what? Let's expand a little bit. What kind of buff would you give Han and Horner to be better against this mutation?
A static defense structure,
Such as
like a planetary
a
fortress.
planetary. That makes sense. In the Wings of Liberty campaign, Colonel Orlan has a planetary. And I think Mira Han's base also has. I'm not sure if it's a planetary. I think it converts to whichever one you have. But I think a planetary makes sense for Han and Horn. It would be so nice to have. So you can actually have something that anchors the defense. That would be so nice. Okay, let's move on. Karax, where do you have him?
So Karax, he has just static defense. That static defense doesn't really care about power overwhelming or speed freaks because yeah, they just run into it anyway. He has a top bar that you can kill most DYs with. Yeah, I have him in S tier.
S
He
tier.
kind of just plays this like a regular brutal for most part.
Kind of. Until you get like this disruption webbed. But I guess you still have your top bar, so that's fine. How about you,
Yeah,
Twotuuu?
he's your static a bit.
Yeah, as long as you make sure you power your buildings with more than one pylon, you should be fine. Even if they're immortals, you can destroy them immediately or focus them down before they deal too much damage. Or you might just lose like a cannon or two each wave, and that's kind of okay. I put him in S.
Okay, let's put Karax in S. To be clear, you put your static defense in the same spots as where you put Arcturus's bunkers?
Yes,
Yes.
around the temple.
And then how do you deal with the Thrashers?
You move out, you build a few cannons, and let them die later.
That makes sense. Okay, so you're not going for perfect temple health, which is fine. You'll still be S. That's not a metric. Prestige wise, do you want the third one?
Yes.
1 or 3.
Yeah, I
both
was
work.
actually thinking the first one because with the first one you have Super Chrono for every single hybrid wave, which is pretty big. And I assume that for the last double Thrasher you don't need to move out because as long as you've been keeping the temple healthy, the last two Thrashers can't actually destroy the temple on their own, right?
Yep.
Alright. So just keep the last two Thrashers alive. Let's move on. Kerrigan, where do you have him?
Kerrigan, she's okay, but if she gets hit by too many spells and she's like the only one on the field, then yeah, she can't die. And then if there are air units, she does have immobilization wave for like half of them if it's a double wave. But the very strong ones, she doesn't have anything good against air. Like Hydralisk will melt to power overwhelming spells. Spore crawlers, I guess. You just fall back, and if you use P3, you can kind of like poke at them and use Omega Worms to stall. For ground, you have Ultralisks. Ultralisks are okay.
Ultras are okay.
I put her in B.
Okay, solid. How about you, Zero?
Yeah, so if she gets ground, then she's actually pretty good because ultras just kind of eat through it. But if she gets air, yeah, she's gonna struggle. One thing you could do, I haven't actually tested this with Kerrigan, but it works with other commanders, is you can drop a structure in the top right base near the workers, and they'll keep throwing power point defense drones at it to drain the global energy pool.
That's
That way she'll
interesting.
probably have less energy to worry about throughout the entire game. Yeah,
Understandable.
the Omega Worms won't die because
That's
it's just workers.
So what sort of buildings do you put in that base? So the top left corner, or the top right corner, I mean, the one that's not accessible by ground.
Yeah, top right. That
So,
one.
so
Yeah, there's a
island base.
yeah.
What sort of
You
building
can
do you need
probably
to
put
put
like a
there?
spore crawler there.
A spore
They'll
crawler?
still acknowledge it as a threat, and they'll throw point defense source at it. But it won't actually kill the workers because
How
it only
about
shoots air.
an omega worm?
Omega Worm. That could probably work also. It's probably a bit more exposed because it's a free building, whereas the space like next to the command centers and such is only 2 times 2.
That's so funky. So when do you actually go there?
It's really cheap, so might as well at any point you can afford it.
Hmm.
Just
Because
send an overlord and pop a
usually
drone.
usually when they go to the area, I go through their defenses. Can you just go around their defenses and just put down? Because I'm kind of visualizing right now the northeast corner, and the broken bridge there is where I usually go through or go over, and there are a bunch of defenses. So do you just go around those, or do you just destroy those defenses and then put up your own static defense?
I assume you go through it. Like with Kerrigan, you can probably pop a worm, jump through, pop another worm, and then that's it. Yeah, maybe pop a drone out of that worm to build the spore next to
So
the
funky.
town center.
That's so funky. I want to try that now. Anyway, both of you have them in B, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Prestige wise, what do you recommend?
3 or 2? One of them.
3 or 2.
3 or 2? Okay. We're not recommending the first prestige. Is that clear?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on. Nova. Where do I have him?
So Nova, her army doesn't really like power overwhelming
They're very
because you
expensive.
don't want to be taking. Yeah, they're very expensive. You don't want to be losing those guys.
Oh.
She has an airstrike which at least kills one of the
The waves.
lanes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you only have to worry about one mostly. The other one, even if a few units survive, they'll get. Yeah, I don't think they'll do a lot. You can put like an eBay on the other lane to stall if like a one unit gets through. That said, if she gets air, fighting that one single lane can still be a relatively big threat.
Oh yeah. I can
Yeah,
confirm.
so I have her at B.
B for Nova. How about you, Tutu?
I think she's still really strong. So like she's not great against air, but she's not bad. She will weaken most waves with her one airstrike. And then if the wave is not dead, then you just drop a defense drone. Usually if you're doing Liberator Raven, you're floating lots of minerals anyways, so drop you just drop a defense drone and your units shouldn't die to their spells.
Sorry,
I put her
defense.
in A.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. What do you think, Zero?
Yeah, I might be underestimating Nova here. If she's fighting against air, then A is fine.
To be fair, I haven't played Nova personally, but I can imagine her having a lot of annoyance against air, especially air hybrids. There are a lot of them, especially in the 1930 wave and a 21-minute wave. That's a lot of air during those waves, and even if you do airstrike, the hybrids are still very chunky. So is she still A despite that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you still defense drone. You can airstrike. Well, you also have a nuke at 18 minutes. You
Well,
use one at 10, then you have a nuke at 18.
Well, the 18-minute wave is not the one I'm concerned about. It's that double wave. There's one at 19, then the middle thrasher at like 20 minutes, and then another air wave or another transport wave at 21 minutes.
You mean so it's not 1930, it's the 20-minute, the after the 18-minute one.
Yeah, after the one after 18 minutes, the one that arrives from the northeast base, and then the hybrid, and then another one from northeast. Is she still
But
fine against those waves?
I don't. I thought you meant when there were like 7 hybrid at once, which is when they double up on the bottom left. If because that's the 18-minute wave. If they double up
Yeah.
in the bottom left, you can nuke them.
Yeah, I figured they were kind of the same wave since if it's not
They're not
the
the same.
south, if it's not the southwest, then it's just split, which I think is harder because you have to just have attention to keep something alive in the other corner where you're not, or just receive them both, which
But
means fighting two places at
you,
once.
you don't. I don't know how you fight, but like when you're fighting split waves, you don't fight them at the same point. You fight one at the spawn point, then the second one at the temple, so that they don't arrive at the same time.
That makes
So
sense.
you don't need a spotter. You don't need a spotter on the lane.
But yeah, either
You
way,
should have eBays to stall them. But
yeah, either way, I'm referring to the one after that, the one from the northwest, northeast base.
you airstrike it, and then whatever's left is just one air hybrid poking at some eBays. Then you kill the 20-minute wave and the Thrasher, and then you Griffin
Airlift.
teleport back to the top right and fight off those things. Whatever's coming that side.
Hmm. Okay, if you say so. Both of you say A. Let's. Oh, wait. You said A, then Zero said he's okay with A. So both of you are okay with A. So let's put him in A. Prestige wise, you want the third one?
First one.
Oh, sorry,
First
first one.
one.
First one.
Not the
Yeah,
third.
you want a lot of. I assume you want Ravens here, so you have a lot of turrets and secret missiles, and also, what would be
The
your
usual.
primary unit, Raven or the Liberator?
I
Liberate.
mean, you get both.
You get
Right?
both.
You can get both, but like
You always get both, and you max out on both pretty much always.
that's true, but like there are some points in the game where I have to choose between a Raven and Liberator, and when you have to choose, which one do you get first? Like you have
you-
if you have 800 gas, and you can get you have a charge of each right now. Well, what do you get first?
What do you already have? Because if you only have one Raven, you get a second Raven.
Okay,
You want two Ravens so they can heal each other, or like heal more enough. If you only have two Liberators, you want four Liberators. If you already have one of each, then it's still early game, so it doesn't really matter.
so just get whichever. It doesn't matter which one. They're equally important.
Well, if you have 800 gas, you're gonna get both of them in like the next 30 seconds.
Liberators cost 750, don't they?
Yeah, and then you have 800, then you wait like a minute, then you get another 100, then you have the Raven money.
Yeah. Anyway, so they're equally important. I tend to prioritize Liberators in most of my games, and then just get Rob because I don't actually use Ravens that frequently. I actually for anti-air, I usually do airstrikes to clean them up.
Their
But
secret missiles are really good. You
Yeah, I
just
know.
hold R and then
I know they're really good. But like I prefer using airstrikes still. But that makes sense. Anyway, A Nova is A, and you use the first prestige. Let's move on. Raynor, where do we have him?
Raynor, his best bet is bunkers, but bunkers aren't good against all enemy comps. You can mass spider mines, but spider mines get killed every time they unburrow because the enemies will cast spells on them.
Yeah.
So it's not great. Against air, you have missile turrets, but if it's like long range air, you don't really have anything good. I guess you might have to like sacrifice some Vikings to hit the long range enemies. It's not great.
I think you
So
have to.
I put Raynor in C.
How about you, Zero?
Yeah, he's kind of like Arcturus, but worse. His bunkers just are not good. Yeah, they take up way too much space and don't have the DPS of armed troopers. Yeah, I have him in B personally, but I could see him C definitely. I think you just make bunkers and then tanks or battle cruisers behind it with your gas.
Yeah. I actually think that even if you're going for spider mines, I think I've seen Lila do spider mines, except it was during the time when the spider mines become invincible when they deploy or when they activate, which means they can't be destroyed by the next splash damage that arrives. I'm not sure if that's still possible now. Were we able to manage to do it, Twotuuu? Spider
Do
mines? Camping with spider mines?
No, that's not a good idea anyways. because
weren't able
their
to.
obs- if
Yeah, no, I know.
so their observers will kill it.
Yeah, I know. I was just saying it was possible before because the mines would become invincible at, I think, when they activate. So anyway, so both of you are okay with C. Raynor again. Oh my goodness. So how would you buff Raynor so that he doesn't land this spot all the time? Better static defense? Better bunkers?
Bring back double mules.
Bring back, you think that'll be enough?
I mean, then you have like twice the bunkers. Not exactly twice the amount, but it's close.
How about instant bunkers? Like
I mean,
drop
no,
the
he already
bunkers.
sets up bunkers. That's not the issue. It's just that the bunkers are weak.
And they're big.
Yeah.
That's true. So smaller bunkers? You think smaller bunkers would be a better solution here than just double muling? Because I think even if you double mule, at some point you're basically full of bunkers that just don't have the damage density, the damage output density that Arcturus has. How about instead of making smaller bunkers, make them denser? Like give Raynor's bunkers the cargo capacity of a Hercules. Something like that. So they can really pack in the DPS. Right? And
That'd be
protect the guy inside.
hilarious.
Right? And that's more in line with co-op. Because that's what co-op is. Right? That would make it really, really co-op-y and make him able to compete with the likes of Swann or Karax. Maybe not a Hercules, maybe half that, but something that makes Raynor more co-op-y rather than 1v1y, sort of. Anyway, Raynor and C, prestige-wise, do you still want the third prestige here?
No.
I'll say P0.
No prestige. Because you want cheaper units because you're trading constantly, which is never a good idea. If you're in a mutation...
You're not trading. You're putting Marines in bunkers. So, Marines, you want them to be the normal price.
So you don't... Wait. If you're not trading, you just... Okay, that makes sense.
You're trading the bunker cost.
But you're trading the bunker cost, but...
Yeah.
I
Still
assume
trading.
that the reason you want so many mules is because you want to keep rebuilding the bunkers as they get destroyed. Essentially trading. So you don't actually lose the bunkers. If you don't lose the bunkers, are they bad?
It depends what the enemy is.
Bunkers, I think. You are trading.
Right? You are trading.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's what I said. You are trading. Anyway.
Trading's usually units, right?
No, it's just
any
trading
value,
resources.
right? Any value that you... I guess it can mean units. You can trade units, but of course the context I'm using it in is trading value. Amon's resource is time because he gets more units every time, and your resource is minerals and gas. So you trade your minerals and gas in the form of units and structures, and I guess top bars also for Raynor's own way or Raynor. Amon's own waves. Anyway, that's enough about that. We all agree with C anyway. I also put him in C, unanimous. And no prestige this time. Okay, that's fair. Stetboy, where do we have him?
Stetmann, he gorbs a wave, kills it, and then teleports to the Aver lane to kill it. There's not much else. His terror lines drain power overwhelming energy also, even if you don't have units there, which means he doesn't have to deal with as much.
Oh my
Not that he
goodness.
really cares, but it helps his ally at least.
It does help.
So, yeah, he doesn't struggle much, and he has the mobility, so I have him in S.
Okay. How about you, Twotuuu?
His Stellalites also stall the Thrashers.
That's
So,
true.
if you get an extra Thrasher, you don't even have to fight it, even though you should, but you can easily. But mostly, they'll just turn around, shoot the Stellalite, shoot another one, and then shoot the Temple once, and then repeat. So it's a lot less damage.
You heard
It's
it here
really
first,
easy with
folks.
Stetmann.
You heard it here
so
first, guys. Twotuu's advocating for violence. You have to fight it. You should fight it. Alright, both of you have an S. Let's put him in S. Second prestige, right? I haven't heard you mention any units. Do you recommend any units here, or we'll just make anything and it'll be fine?
Ultralisk.
Ultralisks, yeah.
Alright, even
You
against
can't go
air.
wrong.
You can't go wrong with Ultra, unless I guess it's Baling Scourge. In which case, you probably need something just that at least tanks the Scourge when they
Just
rush the
Igor.
temple.
Yeah, Igor.
That makes sense. Yeah. But I'm kind of lazy. And, sometimes I miss time a teleport or something happens where Gary's not available. For example, a cooldown or a teleport is on cooldown, something like that. So I'd like to have something like, if it's Baling Scourge in your reserve commander, I don't think it's a terrible idea to have overlords in front of the temple in case the Scourge fly by. I don't know.
You
Maybe
should
it's
always
just
have overlords there.
right? Anyway,
Yeah.
so set boy S tier. Let's move on. Stukov, where do we have him?
Stukov, his P1 units kind of care about power overwhelming. His P3 units also care, but not so much. And but the problem with P3 is the double waves, where
Yeah.
you need like tanks because you have to like manually control some infested to go a different way.
Yeah.
So
Splitting
kind of
is
sucks either way. It's not bad. They'll
Splitting
eventually
sucks.
die,
Yeah.
but it's
Splitting
not
sucks.
very easy. Yeah, so I put Stukov in B.
Okay. How about you, Zero?
I have him in A personally. The tanks have really long range. The Liberators get in if it's air, and with their 85 damage reduction, they don't care about spells that much, other than fungal, because that will stop their attack. But still, yeah, he will kill them relatively quick with tags, and he can both like play the static defense route or just deep tunnel. I think both are like equally as good.
Okay.
Yeah, I think A is fair for him.
What do you think, Tutu?
I don't. If it's P1, then it's P1, right?
Yes.
Yes.
P1, then what? You have to start with something, which is pure tank from the start, then Liberators, no Diamondbacks.
I mean, yeah, I don't think you need Diamondbacks here.
I would do that. I would just invest structure to defend the early ones. Invest structure,
Yeah, you have
then
top
top bar.
bar.
Yeah. Apocalypse Alexander for the first one while I'm building my... I guess my concern for the first prestige is a 9-minute wave. If you have to split or if you have to defend a double wave, are you strong enough by then? And the double hybrid wave, are you strong enough by then?
I think so. You have bunkers and tanks and the top bar, which helps a lot.
So you just relocate them? You fight each wave separately with all your units? Can you get to the other side in time? The bunkers
I
are
think
not
it's like-
particularly fast.
Yeah, I don't think you like move the bunkers, but the tanks have deep tunnel. So you have like all your tanks on one side, and when that wave is mostly dead, you deep tunnel to the other.
How do you deal with early air?
Earlier, a bunker, I think, is fine.
That
Early air is gonna be like
Some-
Scout or Metis,
They,
which can't do much against bunkers.
they might stasis it, right? I guess you just wait it out.
ultimately the question becomes, can he get enough stuff to beat basically anything? Because that's what A tier is. If you play right, I guess it goes even for most commanders. If you have enough stuff, you can be reasonably expected to beat anything.
Enemies aren't buffed, so we don't actually need that many of them. That's the thing.
That's also true. How about immortals? Is he fine against immortals?
Yeah, you infest, and then they shoot broodlings.
What do you think, Tutu?
Huh. Alright. Sure.
Okay, Stukov A tier. Prestige wise, you want the first one, right? Or third one?
Yeah. P1.
All right.
First one's probably better.
First one's probably better. You can still make bunkers in the first prestige. You'll still be fine. Let's move on. Swann, where do we have him?
So Swann, he has really good static defense. That even if they get like power overwhelming, it doesn't really care. Like the disruptive wave can be it can be annoying, but it won't be game changing because your turrets are so tanky. And even if it's like Immortals, you can get tanks behind it, which will shred them because the Immortals aren't buffed. You
Turtle's
have
so
a really
girthy.
good top bar. Yes. Top bar that can basically wipe out one of the double waves, which only means you have to fight one of them. His turrets split naturally. They don't care about speed freaks. For Thrashers, you either float a factory to them and just drill them down, or a Herc. Go for fine, I think.
All right.
Yeah, I have him in S tier.
S tier. Okay. How about you, Twotuuu?
So I put him in A because Immortals, like the difference between him and Karax is that Karax can just like use top bar to delete any Immortals that are there. And for Manx, if they break a bunker, they all die.
They all die.
They all die as a result.
They all die. But they explode.
And if you have ESOs, you probably weaken them a lot and like waste their barrier before they get close. But for Swann, like your drill's kind of slow, and they might break a lot of stuff if you're not ready for it.
The drill's not only slow, it's also static. It's not even moving. So
I think he's still good. I just think
yeah, A is not bad. Not A is good.
I put him in A.
But yeah, what do you think, Zero? Will you make a case for S? Because if it's not unanimous, it's not S. So you have to convince Twotuuu.
Immortals are a single comp, and even then, I don't think he's terrible. Like against all other comps, I think he's easy S tier. Immortal comp is like the only one I'm somewhat skeptical, but even then, Immortals aren't buffed, so he should be fine with his turrets and tanks.
What do you think, Twotuuu?
There are times where like they disruption web a lot of
Disruption
stuff.
web is annoying. That's true.
It's like
when they disruption web Karax, he has orbital
top
strike.
bars and stuff.
When the disruption web Arcturus, he can just unload the inhumane. He can just unload the guys and be inhumane, or even use earth splitters. When they disruption web Swann, he has like. Well, I guess it depends on what prestige you use. What prestige do you use here?
I think 2.
Second
P2.
one. So you still have your top bars. I guess Swann still has top bars, but it might be wasteful to use a top bar just because an enemy wave disruption webbed your static defense. So what do you think?
Wait, hear me out here. Remember when we talk about Kerrigan? And then getting structure to the top right base to drain energy. Swann can do the same thing.
Everyone can do the same thing, though, right?
Not truly everyone.
I mean, who can?
But yeah, let's see. Dehaka can't because the structure he gets their attacks, so he'll kill all the SCPs.
That's true. Dehaka.
I don't actually know who has drop overlords. I don't use that upgrade, so I'm not sure if like Abathur can.
Nobody uses. Abathur definitely can because he still has Nidus worms.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, Fenix can't. I don't think Nova can.
Can't Fenix recall? No, I don't think Fenix can recall.
No, he can't.
No, he can't.
That's sad.
Yeah.
Nova
Stukov can't. Unless he has...
But it's not worth it.
It's not.
Wait, what does Nova do?
Nova, you make a
float
command center.
You float the command center.
But it's not worth it.
Definitely not worth it, but you can. That's what we're saying.
I mean, technically, sure. Yeah. I don't think Alarak can at all.
Raynor
Artanis
can.
Can't. Raynor just floats out orbital there.
Yes. I mean, you actually can because you'll have so many orbitals that you might as well float one while it's regathering energy, right? You might as well do it, right?
I mean, I guess we can't land it there though, because I don't think there's enough space.
I think if you destroy the static defense, like at least, if you destroy the static defense, I think you can.
Might be worth trying. I haven't played that much with it.
I need to try.
I just know last Power Overwhelming Temple Mutation. I've done this and it worked out very well with some commanders.
Sounds like a really funny thing to do. Anyway, so you were making a case for Swann doing the funky strat thing to bait out the spells. So if you do that, they will not have enough energy to use the actual spells. How early can you do that for Swann? Like right away?
One. I mean,
As soon as
you only
rush
need like
her?
a Hurricane and SCV. Yeah. You Hurricane SCV to the top of the command center,
Well,
and
wait,
then
you're
build a
gonna
turret.
teleport a SCV in there and it won't die to spells?
I mean, what spells is there? There's like
Fungal, Psionic Orb,
Yep.
Irradiate.
Psionic Orb,
Psionic Orb
Seeker
won't.
Missile.
Yes,
Yeah.
I mean,
You can pick it up!
you just
You can
try
pick it
again.
up! If it gets targeted, you can pick it up. But what?
Yes,
Irradiate.
Psionic is
Irradiate, you can't
additional.
stop Irradiate. The SCV is dead.
I mean, it's 50 minerals. You can always try again. Like
You s-
baiting a spell for 50 minerals is actually
you
a
spent
decent deal still.
the first 15 minutes of the game trying to build a single turret there. Meanwhile, your ally does all the work. S tier Swann, boys!
You can still build it's behind all of that. It's 50 minerals
I,
each
I just,
attempt.
That's true. That's true. That's true. But anyway, ultimately, you have to convince Twotuuu, not me. So,
Yeah. I don't think I can say much else for Swann.
all I can say is, if I were to make Twotuu's point for him, what I would say is, yes, it's possible, but you need to work for it. I think. So, that's why he can be top of A, which is still pretty good, and S tier guys generally don't have weaknesses, like glaring weaknesses, like against one comp, unless we're
Yeah, he's
talking
definitely
Chaos
bottom
Studios.
Also think that Swann doesn't deal with Thrashers as well as Karax or Minx.
Kills them slower, but I don't think it's harder.
If you're just drilling with only a drill, you're not killing the second or third one before like the next wave comes. The second one maybe, but yeah. And
I
if you
think,
didn't clear the base, the factory's gonna get attacked by like cannons and stuff.
yeah,
Don't you have like a drop pods for it?
the
Not
war
drop pods, but
bots.
the bots. Yeah, the war bots.
Yeah, use the Ares for the Thrasher. Then they get black holed.
Don't they have like 400 health
That's
each?
true.
So they should be fine.
They have a lot of health. They're very chunky.
Whereas
that-
like for
Do that funky
Karax,
editing
you
again.
just warp in some stuff immediately. You don't have to. It's like one probe. Oh, I built 3 cannons. Okay, we'll kill her. Or I could top bar it to death, or something.
That's very expensive though. Top barring.
You're not gonna. You shouldn't, but that's because like you didn't prepare. But whereas Swann, you need to bring like a whole group to build stuff if you weren't there already, and then your SCVs get fungled and stuff.
When do
Trying
you
to build your
build?
turrets.
When do you build the cannons for the 17-minute Thrasher?
There's no 17.
Or
Oh,
16,
where?
1630.
Oh yeah, 1655. That one. Or
That's
if
17
it's
minutes. Come
patterning.
on.
Yeah.
1655, not
Come
17
on.
minutes. Get your
No,
numbers
I
right.
forgot the exact time. I thought you meant the wave after. You built there after the 11-minute wave passes.
That's what I thought. Oh man, I have to remember that. Remembering things. That's so try hardy. Anyway,
You built the static defense at the second and third thrashers at the same time.
all right.
But then
Anyway,
yeah.
so Zero, are you gonna
If you
make
didn't know
one
that, then
last?
it's harder.
Are you gonna make one last case for S?
No, I don't think I could say much else here.
Tough luck. Better eat more Swann He to get girthier. Swann A tier. Prestige wise, you want second prestige?
Second.
All right.
Yes.
At least we agree on that one. Let's move on. Tychus, where do we have him?
He plays normally. Like you might need to like teleport him out more than usual, but you use medevac mastery for this map anyways. You don't really need Odin mastery. And you're pretty much gonna just dump like it's the usual. You dump serious turrets, which are good against power overwhelming, and then
Cyrus
Tychus
turrets.
stands in front, throws a grenade, and then they die.
Okay.
That's it. S tier.
S tier. How about you, Zero?
I have a nest here also. He plays like he normally does. The mutators don't really affect him.
I'm starting to think that he plays like he normally does isn't really a case for S anymore. I guess you can say that he's strong as he is in in regular brutal, but like Han and Horner plays the way they normally do, and they just
They
suck
have to
more.
be more
It's implied
conservative.
that Tychus walks over this map.
Yeah. That's what I think we should say. Like he wins as hard as he does in regular brutal, kind of. You know, I guess I'm just being pedantic. So Tychus S tier, second prestige. Let's move on. Vorazun, where do we have him?
Vorazun, she's terrible at power overwhelming. Her
Terrible.
units are all like very low HP. Not very, very low, but relatively low. Like to the point where they won't appreciate getting power overwhelming. Yeah, and
Yes.
she kills the ground units fast, which is like her only,
Her only thing.
I guess, the only thing she has going for her. Yeah, she has a teleport, which is nice.
She can
If
also
it's
do the
air,
thing. She can also do the baiting
I-
thing because she has Dark Pylon
she
Recall,
can.
right?
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yes.
fly a Corsair or an Oracle to that northeast base, then drop a Dark Pylon, recall a probe, put a cannon. Then you're good, right?
Aren't there missile turrets along the path to the corner?
Fly around.
I mean, yeah, through the edge, even like an oracle should be safe.
Right? You can
Yeah,
totally
that
do
should
that.
help her,
That
but it
should
doesn't
help
make her
her.
good.
Well,
Yeah,
I was just making a case that
Yeah.
you can do that.
you can, but yeah, if she has to fight enemies, she will suffer a lot.
Yeah, because
Even if it's ground,
even
you
during
don't
time
one shot
stop,
it with Shadow Fury. Yeah.
time stop doesn't apparently
I
stop power
yeah.
overwhelming. It's really annoying.
I have her in C tier.
C tier. How about you, Twotuuu?
So I put her in B, but I'm not. It's not a strong case because she suffers a lot, even against ground. Like they cast spells, then your Dark Templar are all red, then they come back, and then they're not red; they're just gone.
We just
The
go.
second time, they'll just keep dying. If you're fighting air, you don't use shadow guards as often. You use black holes more often, but you have to hope that you get like fungoed within attacking range, so you can still keep attacking.
Mm.
Yeah, I think I put her in B, but C is okay.
C is okay. Okay, both of are okay with C. Let's put him in C. Prestige wise, she has. Oh my goodness, I can't pronounce anymore. Prestige wise, she has one prestige that is Keeper of Shadows, the third prestige. How would you make Vorazun better against this? Make
I don't actually know.
revert the 2016 nerf. Make Death Recall 60 seconds again.
That's crazy.
That was
It'll make her
that
OP
was
everywhere
the
else.
game in 2016. Garden Shell used to have a 60-second cooldown. There used to be no cool up time for the Dark Templar. Vorazun used to get an instant expansion. Now it's crazy. Oh my goodness. We're old now. Anyway. So yeah, how would you
That was
buff
8 years
Vorazun?
ago.
Oh, make the black hole radius larger and make it last longer. Make power overwhelming not immune to time stop, so you can actually do stuff during time stop, not just get in the same black hole as Amon is. What else?
I guess some sort of region on her flying
Sort of
units.
regen. Oh
So
yeah.
yeah,
Hmm.
they're mostly gonna be relying on shields during this game, which they don't have a lot of.
Yeah, that's true. How about better static defense?
I mean,
Remember the
yeah, I
Kadarin
guess-
monolith? In the Legacy of the Void campaign, the Kadarin monolith was originally in Shakuras.
Yeah, they're not a team.
So, lore-wise, canonically, Vorazun should have monoliths, not Karax. Karax just stole them. He just plagiarized
is a thief.
Vorazun. Karax is a
There is
thief.
some story in approved
Correct.
lore.
Steals things with his energizers. He steals all kinds of things.
Yeah. Let's move on. Zagara, where do we have him?
She has bio launchers. Bio launchers are good. and you're basically using Zagara plus bio launchers, and your free banelings are there to help, and your resources will be spent on like aberrations probably. So I put her in. Bio launchers are clunky to use if you
Oh, yes.
don't want to really control them. I
They're
use
clunky.
like 3 control groups for this one, depending on which location there are. So if you don't want to control them, you can just have them shoot at like specific spots, and then you use your units and lure them towards the spots. But yeah, because bio launchers are kind of hard to use, I put her in B.
How about you, Zero?
I have her at B also. Bio launchers, yeah, they're difficult to use even if they work. Especially with speed freaks, hitting the enemies will be even harder than
B for bio
normal.
launchers.
Yeah, B tier. At least she doesn't struggle much against enemy compositions.
Okay.
Yeah, B
Yeah,
is
that's
still
true.
fine.
Okay, both of you say B, so she's fine. Since we're saying bio launchers, does prestige matter? Do you still want the third one, though?
Yes,
Yes,
You want the third
you
You
one?
still
want
want the better
P3.
hero.
Alright. That's fair. Let's move on. Zeratul, where do we have him?
Zeratul, so he has cannons.
Cannons.
Cannons that actually get affected quite a bit by power overwhelming. At least he can catch the waves at the spawn points, which is a good benefit for him.
Pretty good.
The cannons, yeah, they fire relatively slowly, so they'll be getting point defense rolled a lot, most likely.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
But you
I
can
have him
do
in
that
A
thing.
tier.
Remember, you have the void array, where you can also do the cannon thing on A1 space, right?
Yeah, but the cannon will shoot the probes.
Oh, that's
So,
true.
yeah, you get a defenseless structure.
A defenseless structure, which they will not spell.
Proxy a Dark Shrine.
Will they do that? Will they use spells in the Dark Shrine?
I don't know. Guess it could be worth a try.
Oh well.
Maybe you can put like a shield guard on that side. No, hold on.
Shield guard.
Maybe like a Dark Templar to bait out the
Something like that.
spells.
On hold position?
Yeah,
Avoid Templar on
yeah,
hold
hold
position.
position.
But you can't F2, and I love F2.
Oh yeah, they'll probably drag him also with the abduct, and then he'll slaughter everything.
Yes. Yikes.
Ah.
Oh well.
Yeah, I don't think that really works with Zeratul.
Oh well. So letter.
I still think he's A tier.
A tier? Okay. How about you, Twotuuu?
Yeah, I think A makes sense. He's good, but not great.
Good but not great. Okay. Both of you say A, let's put him in A. Prestige wise, you want the second one so you get a lot of fragments?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's cannon guy.
Nice. So, do we have a double S?
No.
No.
No. Power overwhelming makes kind of ensures that you don't have a double S.
This map is not an easy map.
Yes. Who's top of S?
Dehaka.
Dehaka.
Stetboy?
Stetmann's better than Dehaka.
Alright.
Stetmann. Easy 3000 HP tempo.
Okay. And then Dehaka. Second.
Yes.
Yes.
Then Tychus or Karax?
I think
Probably.
Tychus is better.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think so
Tychus,
too.
I think.
And then Karax, then Arcturus? Or Arcturus, then Karax?
Yeah,
Karax.
Oh, yeah.
Karax first.
Karax is the top bar. Okay, let's move on. Who's top of A? Swann or
Swann.
Zeratul?
Swann?
Swann. And then
Swann.
Phoenix?
Phoenix.
Oh yeah, Phoenix is just run into the enemy.
Then
Zeratul?
Zeratul.
Zeratul.
And then
Abathur.
Abathur.
and
Yeah,
then
Nova Stukov.
Nova
That's right.
Stukov. Alright, that's fair. B. Who's top of B?
Kerrigan? Maybe Zagara. One
Maybe
of them, I think.
Zagara. Depending on how well you use
Zagara.
bio launchers, could be Zagara. And then
Kerrigan.
Kerrigan.
Alarak.
Alarak.
Yeah,
Artanis.
Alarak Artanis.
Okay. Who's top of C?
Vorazun.
Raynor.
Ooh. Vorazun or Raynor?
Ooh.
So then we know who's the
Raynor has
bottom.
static.
So who's top of C?
I still think Raider. He has static
I guess
that
his
can
static is
fight
better.
enemies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
That's true. Okay, that's the tier list for this week. Do we have a combination of guys who are B or C who are better than Arcturus on his own?
Let's see. I mean, this map is difficult on its own, so
Yeah. How about Zagara and Vorazun? Zagara early game, Vorazun late game.
Vorazun isn't good late game.
Vorazun isn't good later on, just because she has more Corsairs.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
So I guess none. So none. The answer is none. No two BRC commanders are better than Arcturus on his own.
Artanis for his shell. That's it.
Oh yeah, the classic Zagara and Artanis. There we go. The classic combination. Okay, guys, watch Twotuu's videos. I will link them down below. I'll see you guys next time.